Merry meet everyone and welcome back to My Pagan Life as always. Just a few weeks ago, I happened to stop by my favorite spiritual store, and I feel the urge every once in a while to just discover something new that can inspire my practice. And so this time around, I was curious to see if I could find a book that would capture my fancy, and lucky me, I did. It was decently priced too, and that's pretty important because, you know, I got no money. Anyway, few reviews have been done on this book, as far as I can tell, and I feel like I should do this review because I do have a few thoughts of my own. Without further ado, welcome to this review of Crystals, How to Tap into Your Infinite Potential Through the Healing Power of Crystals, or Crystals, a Conscious Guide for short. We're back! In case you were wondering, by the way, yeah, that was my intro. I just haven't been using it for a while because I couldn't find it on my computer, and then I finally found it, so there you go. Time to talk about the book in question. Now, I'm going to keep this review straightforward and simple, which is why I've simply divided this review into two separate categories, namely pros and cons. I want to focus more on what I personally liked and disliked about this book, so I feel like this is the best way to do it. And so first off, we have the pros. Concise and easy to read. This book is about crystals, in case you hadn't noticed, but it's not an encyclopedia, it's not a crystal dictionary that explains the different properties and associations of crystals. No, it is a book that covers the basics of the topic of crystal work, and it basically serves like an introduction to the topic. Everything from what to consider when buying a crystal to how to store them, handle them, and build a relationship with them is covered and touched on in this book. The content is straightforward, the author gets straight to the point no matter what, and it's an easy read. Inspiring and intuitive. In case you didn't know, I like to learn, and I like knowledge, and sometimes depth is required in order to acquire knowledge. However, sometimes what you truly need isn't exactly knowledge, but inspiration, and in this regard, this book does an amazing job. It focuses on helping readers connect to their own intuition and to use that in crystal work. Whether you consider this book informative or inspirational, however, will depend on your skill level. It will depend on how much you know about crystal work prior to reading it. All in one place. For a beginner, I think this book is a really good place to start. Not only because it's really easy to understand, but because all the information that you have to know about crystal work is gathered in one place. This removes the uncertainty and stress of having to look things up on the internet and having to deal with a mix of sources. And my last point for the pros section is that the book has amazing layout and, not to mention, just an overall amazing design. The design is minimalistic yet varied, I guess you could say. There are tiny cute designs here and there are nice pictures, and sometimes there are colored boxes that really pop and that really make the information stand out. The colors are cute and soothing, the layout makes it easy to read and understand the content of the book. It's just generally very aesthetically pleasing. And now it's time for the cons, and my first point under this section is that there's no new information. Well, that might be a bit of a stretch depending on how you see it, but hear me out. As I've already said, this book might be really good for beginners, but outside of that, it really doesn't offer much in terms of information or knowledge, or whatever you might want to call it. There's quite a bit of original content. The author does emphasize her own experiences and feelings a lot in this book, and it's not that that's not interesting, but as interesting as that is, you cannot expect to find a lot of exotic information on crystal work itself. Now, as I flipped through the pages of this book, I realized that there was very few things in there that I was not aware of to begin with, and there were very few things mentioned that I would not be able to look up on the internet on my own. Too intuitive? ? This is kind of related to my previous point in that this book is actually mainly about intuition. And despite this being a con, I'm going to tell you guys about something that I'm actually pretty happy about. The following is written as part of the introductory chapter. Do crystals really heal? This is a question I am often asked. I cannot offer scientific proof as I am an intuitive healer and lead with my heart, which is how I choose to teach. This is really good because it's worth noting about most of, if not all, spirituality books. A lot of books on spirituality teach spiritual concepts as if they were scientific, whereas they actually are just dogma or plain pseudoscience. I want to applaud the author Katie Jane Wright, which I probably should have said earlier as well. I'm so sorry for that, by the way. I just want to applaud the author for pointing this out, though it could have been made even more clear. And personally, I do like it when books like this are a bit more balanced with information and, you know, inspirational stuff, intuitive stuff. Might be just a personal preference. Maybe I'm overestimating how intuitive this book is, but there you have it. A jarring detail. I want to add this one detail to this segment, though ironically, it's probably going to be the longest point I'll be making in this video. It's something that really stuck out to me personally, and as you might already know, not in a good way, so feel free to look past this if you want, but I'm just gonna mention it. One of the chapters in this book, titled Expanded Ways of Working with Crystals, features a segment called Sending Your Energy On. It's right here. It's short and sweet, nothing too complicated, and it touches on one of my favorite spirituality topics of all time, namely visualization. But there is this one part that reads the following. I attended a retreat where a very graceful and powerful shaman spoke to my heart about what I am about to share with you. His name is Shaman Durek. And just when I read that last part, my brain took a front flip because I knew I recognized this name. Wait. Do you mean the American shaman known as Durek Verrett? Oh boy, what a treat. But, There's been a lot of controversy around Shaman Durek the past year or so here in Norway because he is none other than Norwegian Princess Martha Louise's boyfriend. Now that isn't the problem here. People can live their life as they want. However, Durek is known for having made a wide variety of weird and unsympathetic claims, to say the least, and they've just become more widely known due to this particular situation. Some of those claims include that women who are very sexually active with a lot of different men have an imprint on the inside of their vagina, and that cancer, including in kids, is self-inflicted and is the result of a death wish. I know this is not the narrative that the book is pushing, of course, and what the author goes on to explain further in this segment is understandable, it's harmless, it's much better than what Durek is known to have claimed, so yeah, it's okay. I'm just personally very skeptical of using Durek as a source because of what I know about him as a public figure, and it is kind of making me question the believability of the message here. This is just something that made my inner critic pop out, and it might just be entirely personal, but there you have it once again. And my last point for this segment is that the book isn't anything particularly special. I truly mean it when I say that I like this book overall, but I think there is no denying that this is a very typical example of this type of book, and I find that I see a lot of these books on this particular market. So it's pretty straightforward, really. It's nothing special and it's nothing out of the ordinary. But now it's finally time to summarize. Crystals, A Conscious Guide is an easy read that packs all the essentials into one place. The design makes the content even more accessible and fun to dive into, and it's just really, really nice to look at. However, this is a book that mainly focuses on the intuitive aspects of things and brings very little new to the table in terms of information. You technically can, with just a little bit of effort, find all the same relevant information on the internet. That said, and despite all that, I truly appreciate this book for what it is. I recommend you check this book out if you are a beginner and know very little about crystal work, want a book on crystals that is intuitive, personal, and inspiring, want an easy read on the subject, or if you just want to add it to your personal collection and appreciate its adorable design. That said, I hope you liked this review, and if you did, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more content on this channel. Make sure to leave your own thoughts down in the comments below, and until next time guys, blessed be from My Pagan Life.